Hello, I'm Rachel from Douentza Garden in Ireland, and this is a greenhouse update video. Now we're in my old greenhouse today and we're going to have a look at the border that I planted up with permanent plants earlier on in the year, a couple of months ago. It's full of tropical perennials that I hope will go on and get big and bushy, like this brugmansia behind me here, and just give me the feeling of sitting somewhere exotic when I come out to have my tea. So let's have a look at those plants. You are very welcome to my greenhouse on this wet day. It's kind of, I don't know, murky out there. So I decided to record this greenhouse update instead. Now this is going to be a really brief greenhouse because what I want to show you primarily is the border along here, which I planted up, I'm not sure, a couple of months ago, and it is looking super at the moment. So many flowers. And the first thing that immediately draws the eye and draws the attention is this brugmansia that I have planted in the border here, and it's just coming into flower. So this is one of the cooler brugmansias, the ones that flower in our winter and just tolerate cooler temperatures than the tropical ones, and it has done so well in the border. Now this has been in the ground for a couple of years now, but the rest of the border was just planted up this year. And the little piggy there, Boo Boo, the greenhouse mascot, is sitting over in this corner at the moment. And we have blooms coming lower down in the brugmansia as well as higher up. Travelling over to the right, we have gerbera. Now these are what are known as hardy gerberas, which means they tolerate temperatures as low as -5 centigrade, which means they're not hardy at all, but they do very well in a greenhouse border like this and just keep on flowering all summer long. Just to the right of the gerbera we have Canna musifolia, which is the canna that has leaves that look very much like a banana, and this is going to be really tall next year. These can grow to 5 foot, although mine is a little shy at the moment. And there we have the banana doing well, but it will do better next year. And just slightly over to the right we have the tomato tree, which actually is going to flower. Now this plant is called tomatillo, but I grow it for the leaves because the leaves are big and tropical looking, but it can produce edible fruits, so I guess that's what it's up to here. It's making some flowers. And just to the right of the tomatillo tree we have my protea, and there's a little surprise around the other side, so we're going to have to go around and have a look at that. At the base of the protea we have some pretty orange flowers and a ginger that's going to flower. So this is the ginger called Greeny Eye, and it has beautiful red backs to its leaves, which is a feature, and it produces glorious orange flowers later on in the season. Now this one has always flowered for me very regularly, and I used to plant it in the borders in the garden and then dig it up and bring it into the greenhouse over winter. But anyway, so I expect lots of flowers going on for a long time here. And in here on the protea you can see that it is producing flowers. So this is very late or early, let's just say, for it to produce flowers. Usually it does it in spring, and I'm not sure how that flower is going to be able to progress going into winter, but anyway, it's not the only one. There's another couple on the bush. And just to the right of the protea we have another couple of things that are doing really well. We have a variegated fuchsia down there, which is in flower, and we have a salvia that has been flowering for ages. This one has very long, slender blooms, very pretty. And this is Salvia patens, a species salvia that just has the most pure blue flowers I recall seeing anywhere in a garden in a long time. Now, being a salvia, it's not completely hardy in my climate, so I've always had to lift it and bring it in for the winter, but not anymore because, well, it's just going to stay here in this border. And this really has flowered for such a long time. You can see spikes of new flowers coming, and you can see spent ones. It's done it all. And directly up we have a canna panache, which has gotten so big since I put it in the ground and produced so many flowers. And surprise, surprise, my Bartlettina has come into flower. Now this produces umbels of mauve flowers, very soft, tactile mauve flowers, and very, very beautiful. The Bartlettina is a pretty plant too, with dark, large, soft leaves, although I think it's getting a bit too much sun in the position I've put it in. Okay, and that's the border really, that's all there is to it. It's not enormously big. I have a couple of things that are quite interesting here on the shelving beside, one of which is this gorgeous Jatropha, a Caudex plant, which has produced a lovely, lovely orange flower there and seems to be making fruit. But you can see here how the Caudex is formed. It's a succulent structure that sits above the earth and holds water for the plant for times of drought. That is a natural colouring there, it's nothing to worry about. And really love this plant, it's doing so well. And what else can I show you? I have some succulents coming into flower. This Echeveria. We'll glance at the variety of things on the shelving there, mostly succulents and mostly doing well. And what kind of greenhouse update could it be without showing you my bouffon? So this is the bouffon, a South African bulb that when it flowers, it produces a giant ball of a flower that in the desert breaks off and just tumbleweeds around the place and then sets its seeds somewhere else. But when it flowers, the flowers are supposed to give you sore eyes. So isn't that interesting? But it is just a glorious plant, lovely structure, and this one has decided not to go asleep this summer at all. It's just like it stopped, lost its leaves for about 2 minutes and then grew them again, which is unusual for this kind of plant. And if you want to learn a bit more about it, there's a separate video somewhere that I made on this glorious, glorious plant. But there have been 2 disasters as well, or more than 2 actually, because the first one relates to my Streptocarpus. And what happened with this Streptocarpus and all the others, I hasten to add, is that I got too sure of the weather, and these had always been shaded up until then, but I moved the shading away and guess what? The sun came up and burnt them. And you might say that's no bother, but when you consider that these are a species Streptocarpus that only ever produce 1 leaf, and the fact that the single leaf is now very ugly because of the burn in here and here, then it's a bit of a disaster. And then the other thing, which I just noticed today, is this fantastic, well, it was fantastic, Datura that was gifted to me when I visited our Dawn garden earlier on in the year, and it produces double purple flowers, absolutely amazing. And it was producing the flower, and then for some reason, known only to itself, it's decided to wither. So there will be no flower there. I might get fruit, I don't know, and maybe I could sow them myself next year. But I think Daturas are particularly short-lived, so that might be the end of the plant, which is a shame because the flowers, they really were amazing. And I guess you win some, you lose some. That brings me to the end of this video. Just a greenhouse update, a quick update, which I hope you enjoyed. If there was some plants you wanted me to tell you about that I didn't cover, then please do let me know and I'll try and do that on the next video. Thank you as always for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.